Hello everyone, my name is Lisa. I used to live in the United States, but I had to move out of the country in 1987 after a horrible tragedy struck my family. My husband and I didn't have a lot of money. He had lost his job and my salary was too low. We barely had enough money for food and rent each month, and we also had 2 daughters to take care of. They were 5 years old at the time and needed a new bed since their old bed was about to break at any moment. We went to a market and bought the cheapest bunk bed we could find. We were surprised at how cheap it was, but it seemed to be in good shape, so we immediately bought it. My daughters were very happy with it since each one would finally have her own space. They still fought about who would be sleeping on the top bunk, but ended up deciding it randomly. But then, on the first night, strange things started happening around the house. The girls woke up in the middle of the night, sweating and with a fever. They said they both had a nightmare, the same nightmare, where both were tied to a stake and burned alive. The next day, the girls didn't look so happy anymore. You could tell they slept horribly. They didn't want to go to school, but had exams they just couldn't skip. They spent the afternoon playing, although they still had a bit of a fever. Bedtime came again, and as always, I tucked the girls in and gave them a kiss on their foreheads. They still felt very hot, so I had to give them some medicine. And just when I was about to leave the room, the radio turned on by itself. I went back to turn it off, but when I turned around, it turned on by itself again, so I took out the batteries. And even though the girls were scared, it was easy enough to calm them down. I also needed to rest, so I went to my room and fell asleep almost instantly. However, a couple of hours later, the girls woke me up with their screams. I rushed to the room and turned on the lights. They said they saw a woman at the foot of the bed. Nobody was there. But when I checked under the bed, I saw a hair strand which wasn't mine nor from my daughters. I took the girls to my room that night. In the morning, we found a dead crow at the door. I didn't know what was going on, and we were all going crazy. I was never a believer. However, I was so desperate that I called a priest to have a look around. The priest then went into the girls' room and a voice said, "Come here." He approached the voice, holding a crucifix in his hand. Then, the woman my daughters had seen appeared sitting on the bed. And then, all of a sudden, the priest's crucifix was shot out of his hand and smoke started coming from the first floor. I went downstairs to see what was happening, and I was the only one who managed to escape before flames engulfed the entire house. And when investigators came to examine the rubble, they found that that cursed bed was the only object which was still intact. According to a legend, it belonged to a witch who was burned at the stake. And from then on, the bed was cursed, ending the life of whoever dared to use it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life horror videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.